Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Navigating Business, a business podcast hosted by the U.S. Pan Asian American Chamber of Commerce through the Community Navigator Pilot Program of the Small Business Administration, or the SBA. My name is Saint Hung, CEO of Universal Processing. This is, I believe, my fourth time hosting Navigating Business, where we hear from Asian American and minority business owners who share about their experiences, their backgrounds, their struggles, the trials and tribulations of their lives, and their quest, their journey in seeking success. Today, oh my, this is a special episode because we are joined by Lily Lowe. She is like a unicorn, so hard to track down, but after a year and a half, we've got her on the show. Lily Lowe is a financial literacy advocate, president of BeChinatown, and the CEO of Northeastern Community Federal Credit Union in the heart of San Francisco. Lily, would you like to give us an intro, please?
Thank you, Shan. Hi, my name is Lily Lo, and I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to talk to you.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
I'd like to dive into your background a little bit because you wear so many hats, and your name's gone around the community about all the great things you've done. You've been described as an angel of light, um, are also a lantern in the dark. And I mean, do you want to talk about how you got that nickname or that that title within the Asian community of San Francisco?
Well, actually, I'm an immigrant myself. So I moved here with my family I moved here when I was 12 years old. I'm from Indonesia. So my family who don't speak English, who struggle very hard just to support all of us. And of course, when I start growing up, so I see a lot of new immigrants, pretty much the same like in my family. And of course, my major is accounting. And when I look at it, a lot of those, senior, of course, and also a lot of small business, they
Hmm.
only speak English. They don't speak English. Of course, they don't know where to go. And we talk about this is, way back years, and even as of right now, a lot of immigrants who struggle, who want to do business. When it comes to the technology, when it comes to everything outside the world. They just know how to do the kitchen. They just want to start up running the business and go. And I'm glad I have the opportunity to hand on, help them out, and they never know, where to get help. And even though they have, accountant or CPA who do the books, they never know what's their income. And I'm glad, they trust me. Of course, when small business don't trust the system, that's not a problem that we will be dealing with.
It definitely is a problem, and I totally understand. I've got a background for over 20 years assisting the small business owners, namely, and a focus on the Chinese restaurants in the Northeast US. And even in my JP Morgan days, that was my focus. So you're absolutely right that those small business owners, especially restaurateurs, there is definitely a language issue. And I agree with you completely that there is a fear of local American authority. And the business owners also don't, some of them simply don't have the courage or the language abilities to ask or to reach out and find the right resources. And it sounds like you're one such person that has a lot of background within the restaurant space. Is that correct, Lily?
Not restaurant, retail. Of course,
Retail.
I'm right in Chinatown, as you know. There's all the tours, and of course, small business. A lot of them are, family-run business, mom and pop, and of course, trusting the system, and this is something that like PP do your PPP time, and where to get the information, where to get help, and a lot of immigrant, and they got locked out.
They got locked out.
Yeah, during that time they got locked out and they don't know where to get help, and they really don't know where where to go. And of course, my office was open,
Hmm.
and we're able to help them out. We're able to help a handful of the small business, and especially the first time when the government give assistance, but they never hear about it. They don't trust the system, and and they don't understand where to get help, because a lot during that COVID, and a lot of business are closed, and they don't know where to get all the documentation, and those are something that we found out a lot of the small business need to know learn a little more about the bookkeeping, or get a copy of the documentation rather than
Absolutely.
when
Who better than someone with a background in accounting, like you mentioned yourself, right?
yeah. And what happened during that time, I'm step up and helping them out, but I'm able to help a lot of them out, because a lot of them don't have all the information, and when they try to call and they can't even get any copy of the supporting document. So there's a lot of them that that left behind.
Okay. Did you have to file with the state for them at sometimes, or make multiple phone calls to find tax ID numbers and business licenses and whatnot? Or did you have to go through loads of mail and have them sift through to find the right documentation when putting everything
I
together?
think the first time, the first PPPA, it was the time was so fast, and a lot of them don't know, can't even give me the supporting document. And but when come the second time, of course, this thing, of course, getting the documentation like the payroll tax, the Form 941, those are the hardest part. And so even those a lot of small business not even know what a business tax number, ID number. Those are the hardest part to getting, and a lot of them don't have email, calling them up. That's the hardest part. That's not the hardest part. And of course, when they get an email, they don't know how to read it. So, and I'm glad I have, my office is open during the pandemic, and people can bring the phone and I have to, they not even know how to translate it. So they have to bring the phone to us, and then we have to explain to them. I think it's not that hard, but I think I have to make appointment, come down to the office, and that's the hardest part to do.
Yes, I just have to assume that you offer within your office, you offer support in their language. Is it multiple languages or multiple dialects of Chinese, or are there also other Asian languages that you support these small businesses?
But I'm mainly helping the small business who, in Chinese speaking, Cantonese
Mhm.
and Mandarin, and of course we have some other we have some Korean too, but those are something that we try our best, because the word of mouth, they all know we don't charge them, and we're able to have I think about 86 PPP and more than $2 million. So I think the small business that that we have, and with getting some volunteer is very helpful.
Absolutely. Did you say $3 million and 86 businesses?
86 business, more than 2 million.
2 million, over 2 million.
Yes,
That's
yes.
still amazing. I mean, I remember those days early in the pandemic. Every single dollar counted. Every single infusion was, these businesses making rent and payroll for multiple months. So you are definitely a godsend
No, we
to the
try.
Asian community. Um, so just curious, how did you get started? Because it seems like your nonprofit experience has to run deep, and your commitment to the community seems to be, very serious as well.
um, I of course I'm right in Chinatown. We do have a lot of quite a few organizations like Six Family and Chinatown Chamber of Commerce. I do get involved with them, but since I step out, I help them out. Of course, Chinese school, I help them out with the PPP, and I know there's a need in the community, and with the support, and with the support for volunteer and some of the community leader, it really
Hmm.
helped me out. It really helped me out to do more, and of course, when it comes to safety. the crime. So there's a problem in Chinatown. And what we do is, we come up with the lantern. Of course, that's my other nonprofit is the lantern. So we fundraise to get the lantern up, and of course, the lantern is symbolized in the Chinatown's beauty and hope. And this is something that people really want to put some bright. So hopefully, we don't have that many homeless. And of course, we see a lot of those alley, and people don't feel safe at night. And this is it. And of course, we did the lantern, and we did some fundraise from the community. It's really bright up the and the Chinatown.
So you mentioned the lantern business, or the nonprofit project. Is that I believe something like Light Up Chinatown? Was that the name of the initiative?
Yes, light
Okay,
up Chinatown.
Light Up Chinatown. I heard about it. I read about it, and it is absolutely necessary. And I commend you for that, because I remember reading that San Francisco, right early on in the pandemic, San Francisco experienced in some pockets plus 30,000% hate crime against Asians. Is that about right? Does that
That's right. And as of right now, of course, still continue that we're working with the, all this, community, the young group, join us, educate some of the business, and of course, some of the elderly, and this is something that is ongoing, and with the light, of course, with the camera that we have, and US Fact give us some small grant and did the lantern or did the light exchange because at night a lot of the small business don't have a camera, so that's why we bring more light with the lock exchange because this crime like to cut the lock and then we give them a better lock, and this is really a small thing that we do in the Chinatown community.
absolutely? And I'm sure those security cameras help. I'm sure just lighting up the streets. Who would have thunk? Lighting up the streets, it's going to, cast a light over everything so that criminals cannot as easily hide in the shadows, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, just curious, do you have any other memorable experiences growing up? It sounds like you've been in San Francisco, Chinatown, almost all your life, ever since you came here at the young age of 12, right?
Yes. um, I see our parents work very hard. Of course, when they has a letter of positional email and they don't know where to go for ask for help, and there isn't that many nonprofit that really help them. And of course now I think about small business who have bill that they have to pay, who have dispute they have to go through. This is something that a lot of them don't know. They just pay, and I'm glad we have some volunteer who willing to help, who step up and help them out. And this is of course we want this to be continued.
Of course, of course. Now, San Francisco, that is such a city. It's got a vibrant and thriving Asian American community. How how was it? Do you remember how things were? In the early days of San Francisco compared to how it is now.
I think earlier there it's closer. People live in in San Francisco. Now I think a lot of younger generation they move up to move up to San Francisco. And earlier day, you need help, you go to the six company, go to the association to help you out. And I think right now, I think we have more new immigrant. They really just want to come out and run business, and they really have no experience. This is what I found out. And of course, when it comes to regulation, and this is something that we're able to help them out, just like the ongoing issue, ADA lawsuit, and we all know the problem, but who's doing it and who can change the law? This is something that not everyone know how to deal with the problem, but a small business, they
Hmm.
really, I hate to see they have to pay X amount of dollar. Um, Last 2 years or so during the pandemic, Chinatown got hit really hard, And of course, some of the businesses they are closed, and because of the ADA lawsuit. And where do they go? Of course, this is a federal law. This is something that myself and my staff willing come up and really help them out a little bit with the
Okay.
settlement.
Okay. Sorry. This is one topic I haven't heard about. Did you say ADA lawsuit?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Because as you know, Chinatown, we have a lot of hill, and this is a lot of the historic building with a narrow door, and it's very hard to comply without. And some of the business on the second floor, and some of the on the on the basement.
Okay.
So how to comply with the ADA, and of course, something that really hit Chinatown a lot. We have about more than 100 lawsuits from
Wow.
ADA just in Chinatown. So working with the six company and of course working with the Chinatown Chamber. We did a workshop. We have almost 170 people attend the workshop just to want to learn how to comply with the ADA.
Well,
And
I can see how that's absolutely relevant. Who would have thunk architecture would be so challenging because of the slopes of San Francisco? So basically, the ramps you need to accommodate for individuals with disabilities, and the government they pass something, and then all of a sudden, if you don't have the ramp installed, which costs these small business owners money, and they need expertise, and they need builders, contractors, then they get sued, and then that causes those 100 lawsuits eventually, right?
yes,
That is so
it's not.
courageous.
I think it's very hard to work with business owner and also the property owner. When it comes to lawsuit, they both got sued, so they all want to. Of course, I always encourage them to settle outside the court. That's the cheapest way, but that's not the right way.
Settle outside of court. My God, you sound like my litigation attorneys. You have a lot of experience here, Lily.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So right now, the next issue that we're having is a notice of violation. Somebody called the city, complain about the awning. Mainly, a lot of them are in Chinatown. So what I do, of course I step up and then working with the building department and all this planning department, and just of course by doing that, the case is on hold right now for 6 months. Otherwise, they're going to find them quite a bit. As you know, Chinese like to make a big sign, and they're not compliant. But some of them have been around for so long. Why now? And business in Chinatown will still struggle. And I'm glad the city have the small grant. But what we do is that I don't want all the small business, especially the Chinatown business who don't speak the language or the application are in English. So and we able to help them out and to submit the application and help them with the rent relief grant up to 35,000 is not a lot, but really help them move on and also help them negotiate with the property owner. Hopefully they get a reduced rent and small grant up to 5,000 that can help them beautify the storefront or clean up. That's the grant that city have right now, and
Yep.
it's a small amount is really help. Just like and I, of course, the business I helping is not only in Chinatown. It's mainly in San Francisco and some of them in Richmond, Sunset District. They are struggle too. They're small business, Asian business that who want to do business, and just as regular customer who move out from San Francisco because of the parking, and of course the neighbor store that need to survive at the same time.
Absolutely, yes. We're the same way at Universal Processing. Anybody that needs help, people that want us to help them review their business plan. So I completely get it. Our doors are open to everybody, and it sounds like yours are as well, Lily. Um, I don't want to take too much of a tangent, but um, honestly, I've had a few good conversations with one of your colleagues. I believe his name is Wilson. Wilson
Yes,
is on your
yes,
team, and he
yes.
had mentioned that he and some of the members of your organization had stood up to look after the school children in public school of the San Francisco region. And I don't want to steal your thunder and tell that story. You're much more familiar with it, but I just remember for me it ranked up there with the Asian Americans fighting against Harvard and the Ivy League. It just resonated with me and reminded me of that reverse discrimination and reverse affirmative action. Uh, can you introduce the viewers that whole period?
Uh, the school district, of course, as you always know, I'm an immigrant, so our parents always had to tell us study hard, become a doctor, become a lawyer, become anything. So they don't want us, the children, to to get a no education. But and of course, public school, uh, we do have good standard, of course, like lower, and a lot of the majority they are Chinese. So right now, what happened with some of the non-Chinese, they got left out. Of course, what they do is they want to mix, and because the higher education one, hopefully they get better score and they can go to better college. And the non-Chinese one, of course, what they do is, it's very hard to push. The way I look at it, if somebody who study hard and you put somebody else who cannot make it, because they have a lot of homework, they have to do a lot of research. For somebody else, you put them out, it will not work. But of course, you say it's not equal. And then I think the biggest problem right now, I don't know if you hear about it, is all these young kids they go to the mall. They just attacking all the Asian kid.
Yep.
So and also of course in the bus. So what kind of system it is? And we talk about of course we now talk about junior high. How old is junior high? 10, 12 years old. They bring a knife to school, and then as a parent, and of course we talk about uh, the school have to mix. You ask people out from the other side of the city to attend that school because as a parent they bring to that school. Hopefully you have more Asian. You don't have to worry about it now because of the of the not equally. So you plus everybody from different city go to that school. That's why it's make it a higher crime. We talk about the bus inside the library and the mall. Where is safe? Because then I think we talk about the kid is now only talk about the us. I think
I hear you,
as a
Louis. I hear
parent,
you.
it's a pressure.
Yeah, it's definitely pressure. It breaks my heart when I hear about this, that this is still going on. I'll tell you
Yes.
personally, I came to this country in 1983. I was 3 years old, and I grew up on the streets of Flushing, Queens. Although it's not exactly San Francisco Chinatown, it's very, very similar. In the 80s, the streets of Flushing, Chinatown were pretty rough. And it's not like nowadays you need to be 10, 12, 15 years old to go to school. I was walking to school 6, 7, 8 years old, and bringing my violin and getting beaten up by hoodlums who want to steal my violin and I guess sell it for money. But I mean, you try to uh, create a new reality so that the future generations don't have to go through that amount of struggle. And like I said, it's just heartbreaking that it's still happening. Even 10, 12, even 15 or 18 years old, it's unacceptable. And all of us, I believe, have an obligation to bring about change so that it doesn't happen. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
The story about the students and whatnot. It was definitely for me the biggest. It sounded like the problem was the biggest in San Francisco. Correct me if I'm wrong. San Francisco has the largest population of Chinese Americans in the United States,
You are
right?
right. You are right.
Almost double or even 2.53x the immigrants in New York. And that's just San Francisco, right?
Yeah, but as a parent, as a
Mm-hmm.
new immigrant, we always worry about children because that's our asset. But if outside the school or outside the house, the government won't control it if they don't support the school system. If they can protect the children, I don't know where else to go.
Understood. Exactly. That's
So
why.
it's nice to have to the next generation, young people like Wilson. So I have a lot of the volunteer come out,
Mhm.
like Asian Hit. So this is something that we have to, speak up. I don't feel we can do it, ourselves.
Mhm.
I think that we all have to do, contribute a little bit to make the kids stronger. So we all have to get involved, and
I completely
just come
agree.
out.
I completely agree. You're preaching to the choir here. At our organization, we have about 120 employees. 85%, 90% are Asian, and I literally hold seminars. I like, you guys have to volunteer. You don't understand how important it is that each of you need to pitch in. Don't make me force you to go on street walks or business walks for the CMPP. But I have been so vocal, holding workshops to just encourage everybody to give. And I've flown, nationwide to do the same and lead by example. Now, Lily, as a manager, or as manager and CEO of the Northeast Federal Credit Union, and as the founder of BeChinatown, I have to assume the main demographic in San Francisco is Chinese Americans, right? Now, how long have you been serving Chinese Americans in these two organizations?
uh, the Northeast Community Federal Credit Union been around for 40 years. Of course,
Wow.
Beach Chinatown is about 10 years. So
Okay.
I have an office in Tenderloin. I'm not serving. I'm mainly serving people who homeless, people who transition, people don't know how to budget. And I
Hmm.
noticed that a lot of kids in school, they didn't teach them how to balance a checkbook. Example, you go to the bank, the
Hmm.
first thing they issue you a credit card, or they give you a checkbook.
Hmm.
And when it comes to checking, they know how to write check. They're happy to have a check. But when they give them credit card, they're happy to charge. But they don't understand the system. They don't know how to balance the checkbook. So we found out the banks were making charge them a lot of those fees. So I've been, educate my staff and volunteer, teach them one on one how to balance the checkbook. That's my create, So I'm glad, I have the opportunity. So I feel like a lot of those, kid who get out from school don't know how
Hmm.
to balance the checkbook, don't understand about the system.
Oh,
uh,
it's not just for Asians. I think in this country, the financial literacy is at a world low,
yes, and
unfortunately.
I wish they educate them and of course junior high. I think they should know how to balance a checkbook, and they know how to use the technology. But when it comes to you wrote a check last week, but the check not clear, that doesn't mean you have to argue with why you didn't cash the check, why the check is bound, and that's the problem that and what you need and what you want. And that's something that we that's the create unit that I'm doing with. I mainly a lot of those low income who underserved. And Beach Chinatown, I started about 10 years ago. I found out, Chinatown is kind of dark with the crime, and of
Yep.
course with the lantern, give people a hope, give people a safety, and this is that's how I started. So we always try to raise funds. So we've been continue building, bring line, and of course with partner with the US PAC, of course, just gave us 30,000 grant that for the one block of Grand Avenue. It was beautiful. So you have a chance to come and see. So we doing another three blocks. So we're doing a good funding, and hopefully we got the lantern already. So we got enough money that we can just continue bringing all this lantern in Chinatown. So it
Yeah, that's
symbolizes
wonderful.
the beauty.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we at Universal, we've been very active in coordinating and partnering, collaborating with all the spokes. It's been a little over a year, and we've both been busy on each coast. But hopefully, if there are any initiatives, like for example, I hear Restaurant Week was
Oh yeah.
Asian Restaurant Week was
Mm-hmm.
around. We've actually offered to sponsor a couple and make a contribution, plus be present to help out the restaurants because, like you mentioned, the Asian immigrants, some of them older, some of them, many of them do not speak fluent English, and our organization was, built, was founded just like you said, to help those Asian American business owners with all of that financial literacy, with technology, with understanding, so that we can give them service. We can give them exactly what they want in the language that they're most comfortable with. So that
Yeah, our restaurant week is April 14 to April 24.
April 14th to
Yes.
24. Okay. That's a little short notice, but I could get a team out there if you wanna if you wanna shake and bake,
No,
we'll get creative.
we have it twice a year. So
Okay.
we just did one in October. It was quite successful. But of course, it's a lot of work, like you say. A lot of the Asian restaurants don't understand what it mean, what you call that restaurant week. This is, and then we have them to kind of promote. So come up with the menu. This is something that is kind of hand on,
Mhm.
and this is of course last October is the first time. This is the second time. Still, it's hard to push to the small business, and if they don't understand why we're doing it, and which
Absolutely.
we try to explain to them. This is happy to promote. Hopefully, we have more young people who come
Yep.
out and eat. And same thing. A lot of the Chinese restaurant, especially San Francisco, a lot of
Yep.
them is from southern part of China, Canton. For them, it's hard to change. A lot of them still cash only.
Okay.
It took us so long to ask few of them. I don't have that many, but to tell them well, young people don't carry cash and ask them to change. They don't want to learn, but it is this is something that we have to continue. Of course, to work with some retail and all those business, to take to the crime so high. So we want them to accept credit card rather than cash only. This is something that we've been working on it on the side. Of course, with volunteer
Okay.
and
Well,
with some people who word of mouth, and it's much easier than we knocking the door.
audit risk. You mentioned cash only. I would say in the restaurant space, the cash only restaurants have the largest audit risk. And we try to explain to them, hey, you've got, I'm not going to tell you how to report your cash transactions, but if you don't show that you're doing at least a little bit of credit card business, you're basically have a big sign on your door saying, come in, IRS, send in an auditor. He sits in for 30 minutes and he does the math. And then within 30 minutes, he already can tell, and you're looking at a big fine. We don't
Mm.
want that to happen to any of the businesses. So there, hopefully we can have conversations there. Hopefully we can reach out to the San Francisco, Asian restaurant community. But that'll always, hey, I don't want to push point of sale or credit card processing too much, although that's been my business since 1996. Um, back to you, Lily. To wrap up, I want to know, and I'm sure the viewers want to know, where can business owners locate you? How do they get in touch with you? What's the best way to reach you or reach BeChinatown in case they need resources for their business?
I'm right located in San Francisco, Chinatown, 127 Waverly. It's between Clay and Washington. So it's right in the center of Chinatown. So 127 Waverly. They also can call me at 415-434-0738, Monday to Friday, 9 to 4. Of course, if they're not available, they can just, leave a message. We can schedule appointment on Saturday too, if necessary.
If necessary. Damn, very dynamic, very proactive. And any email, just in case they want to get in touch digitally.
Yeah, they also can email me, Lily, Lily, at necfcu.org.
.org. Okay. Well, I've talked a lot. Hopefully, I haven't stolen your thunder too much. Are there any other success stories that you want to share, or any thoughts and anything you want to leave the viewers with? I want to give you the
Yeah,
floor.
of course, since the pandemic, business still a struggle, but I always tell them think positive and look forward. And of course, there's a lot of resource outside. SBA also have a lot of resource, and ask. And then I'm sure people can give you advice. Or when it comes to grant, they different districts are different. And of course, I have people who call. I'm not in San Francisco. What happened? I'm in San Mateo. Some other place. You call them up, and I'm sure they different districts they have their own program. I mainly focus for San Francisco, and I know where's the website, where to look. It's nice to sign up for the website, and they can give you update information.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is so wonderful. Lily, I really personally appreciate you taking the time out of your day to have this long overdue conversation. It's great to listen to success stories like you had presented of Asian Americans and minorities, and hopefully this will, help other minority business owners or any business owners learn how to navigate the challenges of today. And thank you to our audience for tuning in. This is, I believe, the 6th episode of Navigating Business, and we hope you can join us again in the future. Again, this is Navigating Business, a podcast brought to you by the U.S. Pan Asian American Chamber of Commerce through the Community Navigator Pilot Program, CNPP, of the Small Business Administration, RSBA. Also, last thing, because it's relevant, it's only April as of the recording of this video. Everybody, if you can, come check out Celebration 2023. It is America's largest and longest running business development conference. And this time it is going to be June 6th through June 8th at Vegas, baby, Vegas. Lily, are we going to see you there, by the way? Are you coming?
Very close. I'm going to looking forward to see you.
Okay,
Thank
wonderful,
you.
wonderful. Lily, thank you so much again for
Thank
coming
you.
by, and hopefully we can do this again, and we'll have a drink at Celebration and toast to your success.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, have a great rest of your day. Take care
Thank you.
now.